Hey everybody, Jeff here, and I am here to show package I got in the mail today. Basically, it is part of the mail order Black Friday stuff. Now, this year, I really only bought this one batch of stuff for Black Friday sales online, Cyber Monday, all that fun stuff. This was probably the biggest sale out of the 3 or 4 that I usually go for. And because funds are tight and, I just stuck with this one batch. So this is all from Roxx Records. Roxx Records, I talk about them all the time. They do a lot of reissues, a lot of the vinyl reissues, a lot of CD reissues. They have bands that are new bands, old bands, etc. Scott Waters works pretty closely with them. If you're familiar with him, which I'm sure you are. If you're familiar with me, you're familiar with him. And he usually does the artwork for the majority of the stuff from that label. Now, on the Roxx Records site, there are multiple sub-sites. You've got the actual stuff by Roxx. You've got some stuff by CMD, which is distribution that he does from other labels that are not Roxx releases. You've got Scott's No Life Till Metal. And then you've got some stuff that Scott distributes that are not from No Life Till Metal. So you've actually got 4 sub-sites under the Roxx Records site. The majority of these are probably from the CMD because I pretty much own all the Roxx Records stuff. I get those as they come out. But when it comes to some of the third-party stuff he carries, I went ahead and splurged on some of those. It was a 50% off sale. What's a better time to buy than that? Than at that time? It is all CDs. There were I think I own pretty much all the vinyl that I really need that's on the Roxx site. There were a couple from Scott's No Life Till Metal that I really I had in my cart, took them out because the cost got up there. There's just a couple things, that I'd like to have, but don't necessarily have to have. There were a handful of stuff on CMD that were vinyl related, but they were like death and black metal type stuff. While it'd be neat to have, I just felt, I don't, even though at 50% off, it'd be great to have. I just didn't feel like I probably would really spend much time listening to them. So it was kind of like, even though it's a great bargain, I don't really have the money for that. So let's jump into this. One of the first things I picked up, this is a compilation that Roxx puts out called All Hallows Eve. We Love Hating Evil. Now, a lot of times they put out these compilations that they throw in with orders. This is not one of those. And what this is, of course, is kind of Halloween based. And it's got a compilation of a lot of different Christian bands and songs that are dealing with evil, hating evil, destroying evil, things like that. And it spans, the whole decades of Christian rock and metal. Everything from, obviously, the title track basically is the Vengeance Rising song, I Love Hating Evil. But then it's got The Brave and Sovereign Cross and Bride with All Hallows Eve. It's got Striking, Crushed the Head of Satan, which is just being reissued now. In a box set. You got Grave Robber, Blood Good with Killing the Beast, Deliverance with Slay the Wicked, Holy Soldier, Hallows Eve, Ritual Servant with Lazarus, Motivic, Weapons of God, After Winter, and the Migraines. The Migraines are the only band on this compilation that I am not at all familiar with as far as their sound. Everything else, I probably own the original release. And there is a message on here from Pastor Bob Beeman. Just a Halloween message type thing on that. So I definitely want to get this. It just came out, obviously, because of Halloween. And, at 50% off, I could feel like I want to grab that. This is the kind of compilations that Roxx do quite a few times a year, 2 or 3 times a year, usually. And these they throw in with orders, which they did in this case, A Christmas That Rocks. And what we've got here, if you haven't seen that, there's Bill and there's Scott Waters with his No Life Till Metal shirt. So anyway, this is usually a compilation of things that the labels have put out. And so it's a sampler. And in a lot of times they do put out songs that are not on other albums, or there may be bonuses on there. In this case, there's 17 tracks. And you've got some previously unreleased Christmas tracks from The Brave. You've got some previously unreleased Latter Rain tracks. Wow, there's 4 of them that are basically Christmas. And then you've got songs that we do most likely have in the collection. Everything from Mass to Bride to Deliverance, Puddleglum, Three Kings, Chris Manning, Biogenesis, After Winter, Rainforest, The Sacrifice, and Wretched Grave Robber, which is the vocalist from Grave Robber. And some of these have been released. It tells you where they're from. Puddleglum was previously unreleased. Candy Cane EP. Oh, that's cool because I have the Candy Cane EP for the Three Kings. I have the vinyl of that, so that's nice to have a digital. Anyway, these are cool. Every once in a while, I'll be walking by my shelf. I have these on my shelf over there in a separate stack from the regular CDs, and I'll walk by and just grab one of these. And I'm like, I just want to hear something that's a compilation. It's kind of like listening to the radio, but you've got songs that you really like already. So grab that. This is one of the newer releases from Roxx Records that I did get. This is Kevin Pike's Guitar Graffiti. Instrumental, as it says here, Tim Gaines on bass. So it's 5 songs, instrumental type stuff. So, think Satriani, stuff like that. Just kind of a, not really shredding stuff per se, but just good rhythm and stuff. Guitar hero type things. I have listened to this. Production is it's not like super pristine clear like you would find on a major release. It's better than demo quality, but it's got a little bit of a underground feel to it, I guess. Anyway, it's in a gatefold little sleeve there. So I grabbed that. Now, all the rest of this stuff, I do believe, all the rest of this is from the CMD, which is the distributed stuff that he carries. Picked up the new Chaotic Resemblance. It's Nazarites. I've heard some of this, but I haven't heard all this, and I only have like one of the other albums. They've got a couple, so I need to get that. They are a pretty much all-out 80s feel band. They're like a resurrection of that 80s feel of music, and so great stuff. Oz Fox from Stryper was involved in producing one of their earlier albums, and I believe he's on this album. Yeah, he plays on one of the songs on this album, which was the last one, Unto the Lamb. Anyway, so yeah, wanted to grab that. Again, half off. A band I wasn't familiar with, but they sounded like they'd be interesting. Acrolith. They're slated or listed as a prog rock metal type band. Haven't had a chance to listen to them yet, but they actually have 2 albums out. This is their 2015 album that has been out of print for a while. This is their 2021 album, Allison, and Roxx redid this one. Roxx put this back out. It's got 4 bonus tracks, which are demos, some previously unreleased type stuff, Uncharted, and then this is their 2021 Allison. So I went ahead and grabbed both of those, and we'll be checking them out. I've only heard a little bit of stuff online. This was kind of like, okay, hey, I'm going to buy something that's on the darker, deathier, black metal side. This was interesting because it's Hoarder. Now, I have one other CD by them, and they are, definitely more that really screechy black metal type feel. But the thing that was cool about this is it is a Japanese CD of their first 2 albums. It's got the OBI strip and everything, and it is, they didn't print a whole lot of them, and Roxx got their hands on a couple. I'm not that, for half off for the price, it was worth it from a collector standpoint to have, just because, it's one of the first times that these have really been reissued like this, and it's, a Japanese version that has a very limited pressing. I was like, okay, I'm going to grab that. So I listened to a little bit of that this morning, actually. This is one from Scott's label, No Life Till Metal, Primal. It's been out since 2018. I'm really slow on the draw. Here's what happened. So let me tell you. Okay, so this is one of those ones I'm like, yeah, I would like to have it. It just was on the back burner. It kept being put back. It's kind of straight up heavy metal. And I just kept pushing it off. I can't believe now that I look back, I'm like, 2018? It's been that long? Well, then the other day, as I mentioned, occasionally grabbing these compilation CDs, I went by and grabbed a compilation. I think it was a year or so ago from Roxx Record, and it had stuff from all the labels. And I plopped it in, and a couple songs jumped out at me that I wasn't familiar with. One of which was from the Primal release. Not that, I need to get my hands on that when I get a chance. The other one, which I did know, was Banshee. It's just like that album. Just when it came on, I am just like, oh, this is like perfect. This is right in my sweet spot. And this one was real close to that. So I thought, I've been ignoring this for too long. I wasn't sure if maybe they'd do an initial, eventual vinyl release. Maybe that's why I held off. Yeah, I'm going to tell myself that. But anyway, got it. Primal. Great stuff. The key thing about this album is it has Glenn Rogers on guitar. Glenn Rogers spent some time in Deliverance. He's been in a lot of different bands. Heretic, was he in? I think he was in a bunch of different bands, and I can't remember his whole history. I know him from Deliverance. So that was the key thing about wanting to get that. These are some, I don't buy a whole lot of these gold disc reissues, mainly because of cost, mainly because I already got originals, mainly because it's not much of a difference. I buy them occasionally if they got the cards. These were before the trading cards, but I went ahead and picked up the 2 Saint ones because at some point, I have a copy of this, which was an older CD reissue with a whole live concert. This one, I guess at some point I sold in anticipation of buying a newer one. I did pick them both up on vinyl when they came out, but went ahead and wanted to grab these because, again, at half off. These are the gold reissues of the 86 and 87 Saint albums. 2 absolute favorites. So I wanted to grab those. And then this one was the last bit throw in. Halo Heaven Calling. All 3, there's 2 Halo albums in the day. Both were reissued by Gerda Music. And then there was a third one which had like demos and early recordings, which is also reissued. Now, for some reason over the years, I picked up the other 2. From Girder, probably on sale when they had them on sale at some point. But for some reason, this album either never went on sale or I just never grabbed it. Half off, decided to grab it. This is their first album. I had this album back in the day. It's produced by John Elefante. It is cream of the crop, top-notch AOR with the hard rock flair. Vocals, melodic, amazing musicianship. Just, it's a great album. And I remember back in the day getting a cassette advance copy for the magazine and just used to play it all the time in the car because it was just smooth. You know, reminiscent of the 80s type pop rock type stuff. Maybe, you know, just the kind of stuff you might have heard on the radio, but it was just a great album. So anyway, grab that. And that was it. 10 quick releases. Half off. Saved a lot of money. Thank you, Rocks, for that. And that's it for this Black Friday sale this year. I don't think I bought anything else that's coming in when it comes to those sales, but didn't go to Record Store Day either, so whatever. Thanks a lot for watching, though. I'll be back. Rock on and rock hard.